We are going to take this cookbook by Kim Joy from the British Bake Off, and we're gonna bake every recipe that she has in here.
Weird Dough, Episode 1.
So I got the idea to make this show where we make every recipe in the book because a friend of mine for my birthday decided to give me this and a meet and greet with Kim Joy. She's super awesome, and she wrote this really adorable little inscription in her perfect handwriting on the page with her space turtle, which I can't wait till we get to that recipe. While I was waiting to meet her, which was hours and hours and hours, I had the idea to bake every single recipe in her book. Just give it a try, film it, and see how it goes. So the first recipe that we're gonna make is the very first recipe in the book, because why not start at page 1? And the cake itself is pistachio and cardamom cake with a mango-saffron jam. I've never tried cardamom or saffron, I don't think, in my whole life. So what we're gonna make is a mango-saffron jam, mixture A, which is the cake batter, mixture B, which is like egg whites to fluff it. We'll see how that goes. And plus, here it says to make either an Italian meringue buttercream or an American buttercream. So the first step is to make the mango saffron jam. First time making a jam, so let's give it a go. The first step is to heat the mango. It says to heat it for 2 minutes, stirring. One thing to note about this recipe that we're about to make is in the recipe book, Kim Joy says that we should use what's called a jam sugar. It's called jam sugar in England. It's called a different kind of sugar in America that starts with a G that I can't remember, and I could not find it anywhere. So I looked up online what jam sugar does, and what jam sugar does is add pectin to your fruits. We don't have it. One of the tips that I found on the internet is if you don't have jam sugar or something with additional pectin, to buy fruits that are less ripe. Because the less ripe your fruit is, the more pectin it naturally produces. And the pectin will make your jam set, so it's not runny. So we're gonna try it with this mango that's a little less ripe than ordinary and our regular granulated sugar and see if it sets. The juices have still not released, and we've been doing it for 2 minutes as recommended in the recipe. So we're gonna do it for 2 minutes more and see if that works. So we have now done 4 minutes, and it doesn't really appear to be releasing any juices. It could perhaps be because in my attempt to try to have extra pectin with a less ripe mango, I have no juice because the mango is less ripe. So we're gonna add a tiny bit of water to try to like kickstart it and see if we can get it to go. So just a little. Just about that much. We added the extra water, and then we added more extra water. It said to cook it for 2 minutes. It's probably been cooking for like closer to 10. It looks like this. It tastes like mango. Tastes good. So the next step is to add in the sugar. So here we go. You know, it's funny because I've never made a jam in my life, and when you watch the Great British Bake Off, they just are like whipping up a jam. Like it's no thing, constantly. Like everyone is just like always making jam at their house. In America, we buy jam. Okay, here we go. Cardamom. We're just gonna stir it up. It looks more like a jam now than it did before. So, got that going for us. It says in the book to heat it until it gets to 221 degrees Fahrenheit. We're gonna see. Also, I think this is a meat thermometer. This isn't even a candy thermometer, so hopefully temperature is temperature and it's the same regardless. Oh, it's already 220. It's already 220. It's too hot too fast. We're gonna leave it on. Fingers crossed it works. It sort of looks like a jam. We'll see. Now, it says to decant, which I'm not really totally sure what that means, but we're gonna try to strain out the chunks. Oh boy, super sticky. Add saffron to taste. Not really sure what that means, so we're just gonna put this in there. Here's our mango saffron jam. Hopefully it hardens up like it's supposed to and becomes jelly. Hopefully we had enough pectin in there. Not sure, only time can tell. Now we're gonna make our mixture A. Step 1 is to preheat the oven to 180 Celsius or 350 Fahrenheit. And we're gonna grease our baking trays. What I usually do is just kind of like use a small butter and just kind of rub it all around the pan because you really don't want it to stick. That would be a sad bummer. Now, one other thing about Kim Joy versus Jane is Kim Joy said to use a 7-inch baking pan, which I don't own one, so we're using a 9-inch baking pan. Another thing that she says to do in her book is to line it with baking paper, but I do not have baking paper. So we're gonna grease and flour the pan. So this is another little pro tip. My mom used to do it like this, and you just basically take some flour and toss it into the pan after you used the butter. So you just kind of toss it in like that, and then you just shake it all around. And you make sure you get it really close. Ooh, make sure you get it really close in the edges there like that. I just want to also add how good the kitchen smells. It smells like that cardamom, which it just smells so good. I can't believe I've never had it. The next step that we're gonna do is to grind the pistachios in our little cute food processor. So I bought the whole potted cardamom because in the book, Kim Joy says that it will taste the best if you grind the seeds in a spice grinder. I thought that this could be a spice grinder, but I was wrong because it will not grind these tiny little seeds. So I'm gonna put the seeds in with the pistachios, and hopefully everything grinds together to a nice fine powder. Yeah, so seeds. So this is about 1 here, and then a third. Oh, I wonder if it'll all fit. This is a 1/4. Well, we'll just do approximately a third. And then we have a little left over for the top. Fingers crossed with that cardamom that it grinds, because otherwise, guess it's going in whole. The next step, we're gonna add the flour with the pistachio. So much flour. It is 3 2/3 cup of self-rising flour, which self-rising flour is something that I've never used before. It's just flour with an added levitant, however you say that word. I think it's baking powder is what it is. It's extra baking powder. We're also gonna add 1 1/4 teaspoons of baking powder, along with whatever levitant, that fancy magical Harry Potter word, is already in the flour. And then additionally, we're gonna add in our ground pistachio and cardamom. Hopefully the cardamom ground at the bottom. I'm really nervous, but let's see. I think it did. Yeah, everything looks ground. Oh my God, brilliant. So the next step, we're gonna add the milk and the yogurt. Here's our yogurt on this beautiful little tea thing. And oh, this one's so full. Ta-da! Look at that cool bowl. Fancy. Set aside. Set it aside. Next step is to take the butter, sugar, and salt, which we have here in this bowl, and whip it together. So we're gonna use this, and we're gonna whip it until it becomes nice and fluffy. Fingers crossed. We've got our butter, nice and mixed. Next, add an egg. Is it a shell? 1 shell. Now we add vanilla and almond. It says to add vanilla paste. Couldn't find it. Don't know must be a British thing. I don't know. We're gonna add 1 teaspoon of vanilla paste, AKA Mexican vanilla. This vanilla tastes so good. It has like this crazy sweetness that regular vanillas don't have. So good. Recommend. Then this almond extract. Smells really good. It smells like Christmas. Next step, that's my dog. Next step, the next step is to take our pistachio mixture and add some of that. And then we're gonna do our yogurt milk mixture, and we're gonna do it alternately back and forth until they're all blended into our butter. Mixing the final edges in without the mixer. It smells so good. This cake smells so good. We gotta give the dog a treat because she won't stop barking. Poppy, you want a treat? Okay, that might keep her quiet while we do this next part. So the next part is to make mixture B, which is just fluffed egg whites and cream of tartar, and I think it's another way to give the cake a little more airiness and lift. So we have our 3 eggs here. We need to separate them into 3 just egg whites. So this is a little tricky process. Let's see if I can nail it. So you crack it, and then you use it as like a little cup like this, and then you do it back and forth until just the white part falls in the bowl. Let's see if we can do the second one as well. Oh boy. All right, oh. Okay, 2. Trying to get it all out, but I don't, Got it. This is going pretty well. So far we have no shells. Ooh, this side is small, okay. It's gonna be hard to do the swap. Yes. All right, no shells, no yolk. Then you just take the egg whites and you just whip them, and then they become stiff peaks. So we have our nice stiff peaks. On the show, they hold it upside down. I'm a little afraid, but we're gonna try it. Ah! Totally worked. And then it just says to fold in these egg whites into our cake mixture. All right, so here we go, 1/3. Whoa, those egg whites look pretty professional, you guys. Pretty much Kim Joy's egg whites would look just like my egg whites. And the one thing about egg whites is like, you can't mix it too much or all the air will come out of them, I think. And then there will be like pretty much no point of even putting them in. So we're gonna try to do it as little as possible. I wonder if you can hear Poppy barking in the yard. Okay, here we go. This mixture is so good. It's just such unusual flavors. They're flavors that here in America, I've never had them in anything. I don't know if cardamom is ordinary in the UK, but it's not ordinary here. It says to do in 4 pans, but we only have 2, so we're gonna do 2 at a time. We're just gonna use my finger. Honestly, we might end up with 3 cakes instead of 4 because we have 9-inch pans instead of 7-inch pans like she recommended using, which is fine. It'll still be tall, just not as tall as her image. All right, let's bang it out. This is an exceptionally thick cake batter. I don't think I've ever made a cake batter that is quite this thick. It's very thick. Here they are, ready to go. We banged them out, got some of the air bubbles out, so hopefully they cook well, and in they go. Oh, in they go. All right, 40 minutes, and we'll have a cake. It smells so good, and we're gonna just, it's been 30 minutes. It says 30 to 40, so let's just take a look. Oh, they look good. Let's see if it comes out clean. It sure does. Let's test this one just to make sure. Oh, that one's a little crooked. Yep. Looks like 30 minutes is the hot spot. So if you leave it on the oven, it'll cool less, and it'll still maybe bake a little on the bottom because the oven's hot. So it's best to put them on the racks. That's a pro tip. So it's been 5 minutes, so we're gonna try to turn the cakes out and see. They're still hot by a lot. Oop. This is like on the show where all right. Oh my God, not bad. It's a little hot. Oop, that one came out really easy. We're gonna put them directly in the fridge so they cool as quickly as possible so we can decorate it. Oh, so hot, so hot, so hot. So Kim Joy says you can either make the Italian meringue buttercream or the American buttercream. The Italian meringue buttercream requires several steps and seems super difficult. And since I already made a jam today, we're gonna go with American buttercream. I mean, with this much butter in one recipe, how could it be bad? A buttercream is simple. You take all the sugar, all the butter, mix it together, and then you have icing, frosting. We're gonna go for it. This is so much frosting. This is more frosting than I've ever made at one time ever. Listen to the mixer. Can barely do it. There's a pro tip. Hold your hand here to avoid splattering like this mess from earlier. So much frosting left. So much frosting. And so the first thing we're gonna do for the decoration is to smooth off the top. So the cake rises up like this, which is great. You want it to do that, but when you're stacking them on top of each other, they will fall in and like sink on the sides if you don't level it out. So we're gonna take a knife, give it a go. Kim Joy points this out in her book. You get to eat the cake bits. Whoa. Oh, all right, well, it's basically sort of even. This one came out a little better. Maybe this should be our bottom base because it's super flat. It's pretty good. Here is our Mango-Saffron Jam. It got harder. Not as hard as it should have, I don't think. I guess we really did need the jam sugar. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna cut the tip off so it's like kind of wider. Twist it. Oh, here it comes. Well, good thing we have a lot because that used a bunch. So then you just kind of smooth it all out. It doesn't have to be perfect because nobody sees this because this is the inside of the cake. Now this is a new technique that I learned in the book, but I also saw it on the British Bake Off show where they make a dam to hold in the filling. We might need a little more frosting in our, ooh. What they seem to do is just make a really big dam around the edge. I kind of muffed it a little there. Now this butter is literally melting. This butter is insanely melting. So the next thing we'll do is we'll pour some of our jam into the well here. Okay. And it stayed put instead of leaking out the sides. So that's the goal. So success, ta-da! So here is the well, dam. Now we'll put our second cake on top of that. Ooh. It's okay to get a little on the sides. I can't believe how much this is melting. Okay, here comes our dam. And, oh, here's our jam, which isn't really very jam-like. I want to save a little bit for the top layer. It said saffron to taste. I don't know. Let's try it. Yeah, it actually tastes pretty good. Our last layer is basically cool enough. Plop it on there. We have just a little bit of jam left to fill. Remember how I said this was so much frosting? Guess what? It's almost completely gone. Perhaps I'm using too much frosting. Would anyone ever say that? Now, are you supposed to put the... Oh, I just realized because we have 3 layers, not 4, we now have extra jam because this layer will not have jam. Let's just take this layer off. No, it's gonna break. We're just gonna leave it. We're just gonna have extra jam. It's fine. We have a little oozing of our jam from our jam dam. And we're just gonna kind of put a little rough squirts around the edge and see if we can get that rough, half-naked look. It really is not smoothing like we want it to. I feel like I'm gonna get bottom 3 on British Bake Off right now with this cake. Hopefully the flavor tastes good. It's just the top, it really looks chunky. That's okay, you can't be mad. This is a giant experiment to see if we can make anything that looks and tastes as good as our hero, Kim Joy. Oh, it's really heavy. It has that sort of naked look on the sides, but you can see the top isn't smooth. So we're gonna put it in the fridge and we're gonna see if it'll harden up and then we can smooth it out. So we have our cake, it chilled for a little, and we're gonna try this trick. It might be in Kim Joy's book, but I'm not sure. But if you get your, excuse the dog. This trick was taught to me by my childhood neighbor, and she taught me a lot about decorating cakes, and this was one of the tricks she used to do all the time. Heat the spatula and smooth the top of the cake. So we have it basically smooth, half-naked cake, kind of smooth on the top, and we're gonna try to do our pistachio crescent moon. Oh my gosh, it actually is really pretty with the pistachios. I really like it. Ooh, it looks pretty good. So we have like a few little mango pieces. Put them on there. Try to find the attractive ones. Less chunk, more sliver. Yeah, I love it. And there it is. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Cake 1 from Kim Joy's Perfect Cookbook. Here's her cake. here's our cake that we made today. There are a few things different that we knew were gonna be different, like the height and the size of the cake pans, but a few things didn't go according to plan, like the color of the jam and, perhaps the sides a little. But it's not so bad, considering first go. Okay, this is the moment of truth. Even if it looks sort of kind of like Kim Joy's, what's it gonna taste like? Ooh, it feels moist. Okay, it is a very moist cake, and I don't know if that's because there's an excessive amount of frosting or what. Let's pop it out. So let's try it together. It's really good. It's really, really delicious. And like nothing I've ever eaten ever in my life. I can't believe the flavors. They're so elevated and elegant and unusual. I'm gonna have another bite. That's great. You can see in here, that's where the jelly is, but the jelly kind of soaked into the top. Did you see it? Let's try it. That jelly is really good. I can't even believe I just made my very first jam. It tastes so good. I can't believe it. It tastes so good. This was an incredible experience, and I'm so happy that Kim Joy came out with this cookbook. I'm just over the moon about the flavors and how different and unique and exciting they are to me. A few things I learned is, number one, I put way too much buttercream on that cake. You can't really find the jam as much as you want to, so I would recommend a little less buttercream, as much jam as you possibly can because it tastes so good. I would also say for making the jam, you kind of need the jam sugar because our jam was just a little bit too soft. But aside from that, it's a great cake. It's so delicious, it's so moist, it's perfect. I love it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and feel free to subscribe. And if you're interested in anything behind the scenes, you can follow me on Instagram. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thanks for watching, I guess.